The gala event detailing the roadmap on how companies can integrate responsible CSR into their corporate strategies and undertake CSR beyond governance for their business.
In 5 years from now, everything will change. The society that we live in today will have no comparison to the one we expect to live in 5 years hence.
Institute of Directors presents the 12th International Conference on Corporate Social Responsibility.
It is not about giving charity, it's about actually creating, as I would say, opportunity.
Also, presentation of the prestigious Golden Peacock Awards this weekend on Republic TV.
Institute of Directors recently held the 12th International Conference on Corporate Social Responsibility. With a gambit of leaders, eminent personalities, directors, government officials and head honchos of leading companies came together to deliberate on the roadmap on how companies can integrate responsible CSR into their corporate strategies and undertake CSR beyond governance for their business. Proceedings were initiated by the welcome speech of the President of the Institute of Directors, retired Lieutenant General J.S. Ahluwalia.
It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all. In India, we had a number of organizations like FICCI and CII and SOCHM and so many confederations of industries and business and trade. And as such, what really was required to get the directors together. The CSR has moved really from the fringes on to the mainstream. Just 15 years back, when we talked about CSR, I mean, it was not even a subject in the MBA classes. How from the bottom it has moved on to the boards, so that it is the board which is conscious of how we are doing in CSR. We are trying to see how CSR, whatever the policy, whatever the thinking of the corporate is, how that is being integrated, embedded into the corporate's own strategy. We have 8 lakh registered companies in India, as you know, out of which it was seen that nearly about 16,000 companies do come under the criteria laid down who have to spend 2% of the CSR. In India, we are concentrating more on poverty, elevation, training, skill development. We're looking at health and education. These are the main areas in all our effort, and whatever we are trying to do is going on.
We are delighted to be here today as the trade partner of the 12th International Conference on Corporate Social Responsibility. We have partnered with the Institute of Directors India at several events over the last couple of years. And we are very strong supporters of what the IOD are doing to bring corporate governance and sustainability onto the board agenda across the country. So what is CSR, and why does it matter to every one of us in this room? Simply put, CSR equals to goodwill and good business. Today, CSR is a process whereby companies integrate social, environmental and ethical issues into their business operations and strategy. Companies are the pioneers. They voluntarily pursue social and environmental initiatives that go further than laws or models because it is in their interest to do so. It might seem tempting to disregard or discard CSR as an add-on, an offset, as a risk management tool, rather than as an important contributor to reputation and ultimately to profit. And while CSR is not certainly the only way to increase profits, to achieve growth and foster innovation, it is by no means a hindrance. India again is paving the way for CSR by integrating many of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals into its government agenda. As I close, I would encourage all of you to place CSR at the core of your business operations.
If you want to do anything in life, anything big in life, you need 3 things. You need an innovative idea, an idea which is outside the boundaries of logic and reason of most people. You need humongous amount of passion and not look at constraints, but look at as an opportunity. That's how a diamond cutter looks at a rough diamond and sees an opportunity. And the last is a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. So if you put these three things together, you can be in the business of what I call transformation. Me and my wife were sponsoring a lot of schools as part of our CSR initiative. I have been on this journey for 5 years. We have 144 million children in our country in 760,000 government schools. You take any survey, NAS survey, any survey, the age-appropriate learning does not exist for 80% of the children. So the issue is not our youth doesn't have jobs. The issue is 144 million children are going to become youth and they will not be employable. The size and scale of this problem is huge. So we decided at Sampark Foundation that we're going to try and do something about it. We're going to try and solve it at large scale, at mega scale. So we started doing our R&D on it. We created an audio device with a big battery life, which lasts almost 3 months. We recorded lessons in Bollywood with songs and dance and music, in maths and English. And we combined that with teaching learning material to try and teach children from concrete to abstract. And combined that, we started training teachers and started launching this in government schools in partnership with local governments. Today, we have launched this program in 76,000 schools across 4 states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Haryana, and Uttarakhand, the 4 poorest states in learning outcome. And the results are there is a significant increase in learning outcome. Remember, I talked about grade 5 children. So that Sampark Didi and that device is creating a magic, impacting the lives of 7 million children in these 76,000 schools. The point I wish to make to you is there are many such experiments happening across the country. CSR is not about counting how much money you spend. That's a waste. And I truly believe 75% of CSR investment is going waste because people do not consider it as their own money. It is somebody else's money. I think if CSR money was spent exactly the way it is spent in corporate, behind business ideas, where you spend on innovation, you spend on breakthrough ideas, and you measure the impact that money is creating, then CSR has an opportunity of transforming India.
CSR, very interestingly, has, suddenly transformed into a board agenda. It's a board prerogative. The CSR committee reports to the board of directors of a company. And that's where I feel IOD plays a role in actually catalyzing the whole system. Skilling, as I see for corporates, one way to look at it is that my mandatory CSR spending can go into skilling. But on the other hand, if you see, it's like an investment. The more you skill people in this country, the more benefit the corporates are going to get out of that skilled manpower. Now also, Mr. Nayyar just spoke about the UN sustainable goals and other things. So let me just, briefly touch upon this. Skilling, if you see, touches upon SDG 4, which is quality education, SDG 1, which is no poverty, SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, SDG 10, reduced inequalities, and SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. If we see, through skilling, we can actually address a lot of sustainable development goals and actually go towards achieving.
Mr. Gautam Sasital mentioned very importantly that the best companies are those which have good governance. So corporate social responsibility does not just mean 2% of your profits for, say, charity or philanthropy. It is a much larger scope. It has a much larger, wider meaning. And if you look at that, governance is the root of the issue. That is what we need to focus on. And I would suggest that the Institute of Directors should bring in a ranking on governance of all corporates. So this will help corporates to look at governance, good governance as a measure of their own success. And in this context, I would like to quote Dr. Narayan Murthy, who's one of our iconic industry leaders. He has said we should build companies not for this generation but for 100 years. He said our company should be run in such a way that we will be there even 100 years later. And that is what good governance will take us. and therefore Institute of Directors could have a great role to play.
I think it's a very, very important role that IOD is playing. It's 25 years since inception. This itself on CSR, an important topic that's dear to all of us as corporates as well as for the larger community.
Corporate social responsibility is one very important aspect for our corporate, and that's part of giving back for the corporate, and I think IOD is doing a yeoman service.
Functions and conferences and deliberations make people to believe again and again, and reinforcement come that they have to do something as an initiative to the people who are not as privileged as the corporate world is.
No, this is an extremely valuable forum because in India corporates have been engaging in socially worthwhile causes for a very long time.
I think the event is really fantastic, really good thought leadership discussions. The way that the program has been set up is really exceptional.
CSR is essential. CSR is like lifeblood, and I think the time has come that we should stop talking about corporate social responsibility because it has grown into a larger concept.
Post the informative sessions, it was time for the much-awaited Golden Peacock Awards presentation and IOD's Distinguished Fellowship presentation.
Honorable Justice Patel symbolizes the last hope of the poor and hapless citizen, a legal luminary of robust independence. There is hope for India. Honorable Justice Patel.
I don't think that the judiciary can be given any less weightage in the functioning of any corporate world. It's a great privilege on the part of IOD to have the chairman of a person no less than former Chief Justice of India, and more particularly Justice Venkatacharya, who is known as a Bhishma Pitama of the judiciary. The contribution by the judiciary to the corporate world is one of the major aspects which possibly is taken into consideration by the advisory board. And I have a privilege that I am conferred with this Distinguished Fellowship Award.
The next IOD's Distinguished Fellowship goes to Gautam Shashital from UAE. Gautam is the Chief Executive Officer at Dubai Multi-Commodities Center, the world's leading free zone for commodities, trade and enterprise.
This award doesn't really belong to me. It belongs to my team at DMCC, some of who are here. It's because of their tireless efforts that we continue to stay at #1 free zone in the world. And that's what encourages us. And this award will encourage us to continue on our growth in a sustainable and responsible manner. Thank you very much, IOD, for conferring this award on me.
The next award, the Golden Peacock Award for Innovative Leadership for Philanthropy and Social Change, goes to Mr. Vineet Nair, Founder Chairman, Sampark Foundation, and former Chief Executive Officer, HCL Technologies, and author of the highly acclaimed management book, Employees First, Customers Second.
behalf of my 7 million children and my wife, who is a co-founder of Sampak Foundation, I humbly accept this honor, and this honor will bring smiles on their faces.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 5 years from now, everything will change. The society that we live in today will have no comparison to the one we expect to live in 5 years hence. I was associated with the Institute of Directors when I was 70. I'm now running it for my 90th year. And I have watched the movement of the capital markets, the corporate organizations. I've carefully observed the kind of changes that have come in. In another 5 years from now, you will see the issues that arise in the interface of the explosion of science and technology on one side, and issues of human survival and social security. These are great issues. They are not small things that can be talked in the boardrooms. How the directors must become social philosophers, and how they should visualize the integration of the corporate philosophy. And the corporates will generate wealth, and how handling wealth, wielding it wisely, is the biggest issue. And these are the areas in which possibly the corporate world will diversify into. And the boardroom will be a place of great intellectual excitement. Thank you very much for your patience.
I have been assigned the present duty of formally thanking the living legend, if I can say that, of Justice Venkat Chelaiya. Indeed, Sir, IOD is honored by your presence on their board, and we all are happy that we are part of a function today in which Justice Venkat Chelaiya is chairing. It's a matter of pleasure and satisfaction that for the last 70 years, the Indian Supreme Courts and High Courts have silently worked their way up and have delivered many good judgments which have upheld the democratic values, and they are now respected for their work and worth.
We carry the same political, legal philosophy that is started in 1776 with the United States when it spoke of liberty, equality, and of course, pursuit of happiness. However, India being a large country with the largest population, and we are, after all, called the largest democracy, there's such a churning in our society where different conflicting groups are competing for the limited resources and infrastructures that are provided by the nation. It is only because we take our job seriously as much as you take your job seriously that we are there to defend, to protect, and promote democracy. But a democracy which is egalitarian, which believes in the fundamental rights of the people, a judiciary that upholds, and naturally, no wonder we have been called the archangel of the people at large.
I think it's really important to get corporate sector involved in the social sector.
I think this is a great initiative. This is the CSR initiative at the 12th instance, which is taking rapid phase in India, because CSR, the corporate social responsibility, is taking the momentum.
It's an excellent event which has been organized, and CSR is most important in the context of India.
Now it was time for the Golden Peacock Awards 2017.
In the hospitality sector, the winner is Al Jazeera International Catering LLC UAE. Mr. Robbie Tomei, Managing Director of the Al Jazeera International Center. Next awardee is in the sector petrochemicals is the IRPC Public Company Limited, Thailand.
The seminar is very fruitful, and I think that I have got many ideas and new ideas from speakers from different countries, that all of them have different ideas and different good practices that I can bring it to adjust to my own company.
The next awardee is in the sector chemicals and fertilizers is the GHCL Limited, Noida. Mr. N. Radia, Chief Operating Officer, is here to receive the award. Next awardee in the financial sector, banking, private, is the winner is Yes Bank Limited, Bombay.
IOD is doing a remarkable job as far as overall role of board, role of CSR, sustainability.
Next winner is in the sector IT. The winner is Dell International Services India Private Limited, Bangalore. Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, Executive Director. The next winner in the sector mining and metallurgy is the Andhra Pradesh Mineral Development Corporation Limited, Vijayawada.
Very interesting gathering. So all the corporates attended this function, and they are sharing their best practices.
Next winner is in the sector oil refining is Reliance Industries Limited, Bombay. Mr. Prasan Thate, Head, Monitoring and Evaluation, Reliance Foundation. The next sector winner is GMR Hyderabad International Airport, Hyderabad. Ms. Meena Raghunathan, Director, Community Services, GMR. Next winner for HR Excellence in the sector consultancy is Accenture Solutions Private Limited, Bangalore. Ms. Dhanya Rajeshwaran, Director, Talent Strategy, Human Capital and Diversity. The next winner in the financial sector banking is the Union Bank of India, Bombay. Mr. Atul Kumar, General Manager, is here to receive the award.
We of course face large number of challenges in order to identify a good project, and there are gaps in the government delivery. We would like the corporate to take up those gaps rather than imitating or replicating. It should be in a complementary role.
CSR, of course, is a small fraction of the total effort that is required for development.
I thought it's a very important conference in the sense that they brought in a whole range of people from both industry within and outside the country.
I think it's a very good initiative, and for me personally, I made it a duty to come here to address and to share a little bit my knowledge about this concept about the corporate sustainability and social responsibility.
I think this event is really setting the standard worldwide, because sustainability reporting and sustainability as a wider issue now is actually top on the agenda of companies worldwide.